Max and the Zombie. Are you guys ready for this? I feel like this one, I feel like you're missing it. And I really do feel, the most part, I don't mean to condescend to you guys. I really like you guys. We come here, right? We try to smarten each other up. I learned plenty of you in the comment sections. Please don't get me wrong. But I do feel, condescending or not, that you don't understand Max Holloway. That's how I feel. I feel that very few people understand Max Holloway. That's how I feel. I've known Max since he was 20 years old. If I have that wrong, he was 21. I met him the day before, so at the weigh-ins, I met him the day before he fought Conor McGregor, and he had a record at that time for being the youngest guy in the UFC. I just can't remember if he was 20 or 21. I bet he was 20. But I'm making my point. Then Max goes and he starts this family, and it's small town, right? Very proud of where he's from. I understand that. I can relate to that. I'm very proud of Westland. I'm very proud of where I'm from. He's like that, not to mention he's a celebrity, not to mention he's a badass. And he got his heart broken. It's a very terrible story, but it's a very big part of Max and understanding him. Because most of you didn't know that, did you? Before you think, well, I didn't know that, I don't care about his personal life. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you saw Max nonstop. For a guy who went through what Max went through and you didn't know it. You didn't know it because he never showed you. You didn't know it because you never saw him hanging his head. You didn't know it because he never had a bad competition and he blamed it on that. He blamed his training. He blamed his nutritionalist. He blamed his old lady. He blamed the guy up the road. He's never done any of those things ever, and that includes putting on the best performances that we saw during COVID. The best MMA that you saw in your life took place in COVID, and the star of all of them, and they all get a lot of credit, but the star of all of them is Max. Max outperformed everybody. And he did it by himself in his garage. And he worked on techniques, and he envisioned, and he believed. And he was at that right age, with that right usefulness, with that right playfulness, and no matter what was pulling him down outside of this, he kept his focus. And I feel that a lot of people don't understand that. I feel a lot of people don't understand what was on the line the night that Max moved up to 155 pounds and stood across from Dustin Poirier. And I feel like they don't get that. Conor McGregor has beaten the best fighters in the world fast. He's won world championships in 13 seconds. He's won world championships inside of 2 rounds. He fought Max Holloway for 15 minutes, and Max would have fought him for 15 more. And that's back when he was a 20-year-old boy. Just sharing that with you. It's a huge part of the story. The only thing that ever comes out of that story is that we're told that Conor's knee hurt. I don't even know what to do with that. I honestly don't know. ACLs and MCLs and meniscus and both knees at the same time. I possibly couldn't care less. It has never stopped me from my ability to, and fill in the blank, never. I would prefer when they felt good, because not having pain is better than having pain. But I'm just sharing for you. Everybody seems to have these kinds of excuses. Instead of just saying, hey, that 20-year-old Max, he sure showed something special that night, didn't he? And he found a way to pick himself up and get all the way to a world championship. He found a way to pick himself up and get to a world championship fight at even a different weight class before he settled back home. And I just feel that the Max story is missed. And you've really got to understand what's going on here. Max fought Volkanovski twice, and Max beat him both times, in my opinion. Now, I wasn't bullish on the very first one. It was hard to tell. On the second one in Fight Island, it was 3 rounds to 2 for Max. They rematched a third time. Volkanovski never should have even given him that opportunity, but he did. And that one, you started to see the distance, and you started to see the greatness of Volkanovski. Now, the reason I have to bring that in is because Volkanovski cannot be your denominator here. He can be the divisible. He cannot be the denominator, because if you look at what Volk did to the Korean Zombie, you're going to decide that Korean Zombie's time is done. If you look at what Volk did to Max, you're going to decide that Max's time is done. You're wrong. Not only is it not fair for you to do that, Max can't do it to himself, and the Zombie can't do it to himself. This is the right fight. This is an excellent contest. But what these guys are out there to show, see, this is a mental battle. You're going to see it from a physical standpoint. This is a mental battle. Fighting Volkanovski, you'll think that you are done. One of the best fighters that the world's ever seen. You ready for this? Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes is one of the true greats. From strength to speed to understanding to versatility to grappling to wrestling accolades. He's one of the best. Chad fought Volkanovski and said, I'm not going to fight anymore. That's how Volk made him feel. Volk made one of the greats ever, a three-time title challenger, feel as though I don't belong. Now, Chad ended up doing other things, such as grappling, of which he never lost, such as professional boxing, of which I want to say he never lost. I don't want you guys correcting me, but boy, did he represent himself really well. Yeah, it turned out that you're not done just because Volkanovski comes across you. In fact, if you look at Chad Mendes, he got better having dealt with Volkanovski. So, but before you want to count out the zombie because you saw that performance, right? Volk turns out to be a lot better than we knew he was. I mean, do you think that Islam would have any trouble with anybody who I've just mentioned? Okay, because some people, including a judge that night, think that Volk beat Islam. So I'm just sharing for you. If you could give everybody a pass from getting beat up by Islam, this is a guy that many think beat up Islam, right? It's one of those, they got to throw Volkanovski out. People were talking about Zombie retiring. Zombie was thinking about retiring, but that was in the ring with Alex. Alex is a different deal. And you can use it to get frustrated, and many have. Or you can swallow real deep, grab your bootstraps like Max Holloway personally has done so many times, including on very sensitive personal issues that he's never made public. And you can use those experiences to get better. This is not a physical battle between the Zombie and Max. This fight is mental.